I'm Eric Bricker, and I've been a psychotherapist for over 25 years. One thing I can tell you for certain is that no one makes it through life unscathed. At some point, many of us will rely on the trusted counsel of another person to help us navigate difficult times, or to reconcile a troubled past. Whether conventional or unconventional, professional or informal, there are a lot of different forms that helping relationships can take. This podcast is an exploration into what makes these relationships work. Who are the people that help us? How do they help us? What do people need help with? My hope is to uncover as much as I can about this very human phenomenon, and I hope that you'll join me. This is the Good Counsel Podcast. I'm Eric Bricker, and this is the Good Counsel Podcast. I am joined today by my friend and colleague, Esin Pinarly. Esin is a licensed clinical social worker and a psychotherapist. She is certified in a number of postgraduate advanced modalities. She knows how to do a lot of different things, too many to mention. And she is here with me. She's a colleague in the Sanctuary Suites, or as we like to call it, the House of Legends. I'm only kidding. No one actually calls it that except me. But Esin is here and joining us, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things today. I'm excited to have Esin along. She's a fun person. Esin, thank you so much for coming and joining me for the Good Counsel Podcast.
So thank you for having me on. I was excited to come on when you asked me. I knew we'd have a lot of fun together.
All right. So, Esin, I've watched a lot of your Instagram. I think I've probably seen all of the Instagram reels. I really like what you're doing there as far as the creation of content for social media. You are really polished and come across really well. I think also your messaging about therapy comes across really clearly. I actually tried to do the same thing, making videos. It didn't have the same effect. It was really dark. It was awkward. I was nervous and twitchy. It actually looked a lot more like the Blair Witch Project when I was trying to do my own videos. So I've abandoned that now. I feel like, this is really more my vehicle, is the podcast. So you are what I call a pilgrim. What a pilgrim, my definition of that is all of these people that come from other places to get sober in South Florida and then ultimately stay. And I say pilgrim because you've come from somewhere else, and South Florida has historically been referred to as the Mecca of recovery.
Absolutely. The hub of enthusiasm is what I was told it was.
The hub of enthusiasm.
The hub of enthusiasm.
I haven't.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that was what was sold to me when I went to treatment. So Who
introduced you to the term hub of enthusiasm?
Sierra Tucson, 2008 or not 2009.
That actually sounds like a Sierra Tucson term,
right? Which it was just a magical experience for me. But
Sierra Tucson,
it was like just everything I needed. I was scared to death. I mean, I was petrified. I'm from New York.
What year was that?
I think it was 2009. Yeah. Yep. And so there I learned that there apparently at that time, there was these meccas of recovery, like you said, but they called it hubs of enthusiasm. And I was like, that sounds really cool. And it was, I think Delaware at one point was one of them. It was like Delaware. There was these pockets. Delaware. Yeah.
Well, I'd never heard that.
And I'm like, I haven't heard it since, but it was these hubs of enthusiasm. And I'm like, that sounds really exciting. I'd like to be involved in a hub of enthusiasm where there was a lot of recovery and it was a concentrated area of a lot of resources for people to get better and to heal and to get sober. And so it was, I think, California too at that time. So it was like the ones that were called hubs of enthusiasm was particularly Florida. And one of the lures that was coffeeoke. Do you remember hearing?
I do remember coffeeoke.
I remember thinking, sign me up. Like, that sounds like a good time.
Are you a open mic person?
I am. I do karaoke.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. What I lack in skill, I make up for in passion. So, I mean, I give it my all.
Do you have like a go-to song or artist?
Oh God.
Or?
I mean, okay, fun fact. I was on a cruise years ago. I don't even know what year it was. And I won the contest. I sang I Will Survive.
Nice. Gloria Gaynor.
Gloria Gaynor.
Or do you do the cake version?
The Gloria Gaynor.
Nice.
I really go, yeah. I Will Survive is one of them. Lisa Loeb, 9 Stories. I think Stay. I think it's called Stay.
I'm not familiar
I
with
know.
that one.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm all over the place with it. I could pretty much Cool Rider, Grease 2, Michelle Pfeiffer. I want to see OOLRIDER.
That's from Grease. That's
from Grease 2 with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer was in Grease 2?
Yeah. Or was it Grease 1? No, it was Grease 2.
I never saw Grease 2.
Grease 2 is my favorite.
It was?
It was the best.
Oh.
I mean, she was just like the epitome of cool, and like, you know, she wanted a cool rider.
Gotcha.
You know, and like the song and like just all of it, and she was a vibe, and it was, so that's one of my go-tos.
So you're a performer.
So I danced my whole life.
What kind of dance?
Tap, jazz, ballet. I could never get on point because my arch wasn't strong enough. But that was like a goal of mine. But I was in a dance since I was a little girl. I was in tap, jazz, ballet, hip hop, modern. So I was like a trained dancer. And then there was a company I ended up being in the dance company. And so I competed all over the world.
Gotcha.
I mean, it took up my whole life. It kept me off the streets, honestly. Like,
this is super interesting.
Yeah.
So now I'm not sure what to do. We're in the middle of your recovery journey. All right, we'll come back to all this.
Let's come back to that.
I have a feeling the dancing will come up again.
Oh, it will. Yeah.
So because eventually you did get to Coffeeoke.
Oh, yeah.
So 2009, you go to Sierra Tucson.
Scared, petrified.
What was going on that you needed to do that?
I mean, everybody around me was like, I was out of control. I mean, I was kind of a weekend warrior. It's not that I didn't drink. Alcohol was my drug of choice. I mean, I've kind of done, you know, a lot of things like experimentally, rites of passage, you know, smoked pot, really never into it. Had a bad experience with it in college. I went to Albany for a little while, and I think I took like a very, very big bong hit, and I thought it was laced. And I remember holding a little can of Hawaiian Punch in my hand, and all the guys were like, "Oh, you're drinking Hawaiian Punch." Everybody knows you get so much more messed up when you get so much more high and I just dropped it out of my hands.
That's a thing, that Hawaiian Punch?
No, it was a lie. They were trying to bug me out. They knew I was bugging out. I wasn't an experienced pot smoker.
Gotcha.
So these are these experienced pot smokers, my guy friends, they're all on the soccer team. They're upstairs from me. Purple's my favorite color. My whole room is purple at that point. And so they're like, you have to come upstairs. We got a purple bong, you know. And so like I smoke, you know, not my thing. And I bugged out.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. Well, they were like, if you drink Hawaiian Punch, it will accelerate. You will get so high. And you'll go, yeah. And so it was like I was holding it in my hand and I just dropped. I just dropped it on the floor. And I went to the other room to my friend from high school. I was like, I think this stuff is laced. He's like, it's not laced, Esin. I was like, well, it feels like I am on some sort of...
It just sounds like sounds like it was a rough night.
It was. So that was never like kind of my jam. But yeah, I mean, I went, the way that I drank and the way that people, you know, obviously my parents were like, you need to do something. People who would drink with me would be like, you should not drink.
So you kind of have that genetic, when you drink, it just takes you to a different level.
Yeah.
In terms of behavior. I'm assuming there were blackouts.
Absolutely. As it progressed, right? So it progresses. In the beginning, fun. And then it was fun until it wasn't. And then it got to the point where it's like I would be fun for the first couple of drinks, and then it was like, she's scary. You know, like I would do just outlandish things. Like I ripped, somebody had a necklace on, like I think it was like a gold chain. I was like, that's totally Guido. And I ripped it off. I go literally. I was like, that's super Guido. And I ripped off his necklace.
You do that in the wrong place, you can get killed.
Yeah, and it was things like that. Like this guy showed up at one of my birthday parties that was like an ex-best friend. And he apparently, I don't remember this is as my disease progressed, he apparently showed up in a shirt with a vest over it. And they said that I ripped his shirt off and he ended up with just the vest.
Oh, no,
like it was a magic act. I did not remember it. They said I got so angry. I was like, who are you to show up to my party? And I think my friend was a promoter and I had a whole section, a club in Manhattan because I'm from New York. And he showed up to the party and I must have been so angry that he showed up because we had a falling out or whatnot. And I ripped his shirt out and he ended up with just a vest.
Like when someone grabs the like the table cover.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally. It was like a magic act.
Like where you pull off the table cover and all of the dishes and everything stay.
It was like exactly like that.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it would be things like that, and it would be
sounds like there was a lot of ripping off of
there really was like, and it would be like my
you don't want to be
would,
wearing the incorrect accessory around you.
I know
when you've been
that
drinking.
was the thing. Yeah.
Or it's coming off.
And then also I would do a lot of accents. I started to get into some sort of weird accents. Like,
no way.
Yeah.
So
I would.
your personality would change. You would actually become a different person?
For sure. It was Jekyll and Hyde.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What kind of accents are we talking about?
I mean, I would do an Indian accent.
Gotcha.
And I don't know where I got it from. I just started coming out.
You just started rocking
My friend
it?
would see me transform.
Gotcha.
She'd be like, oh. And then she even had like an alter ego name for me. And then I would be Spanish at one point. And so she used to call me Carmencita.
Gotcha. No.
She's like, oh my God, Carmencita's coming out.
You know, it's interesting because you are darker complected in a way that people might not necessarily know your ethnicity. Like,
yeah,
I guess
you can't tell.
Like ethnically ambiguous or
yes,
whatever
sure.
people. So you probably could be any of those things.
And and I would pretend to have accents. And, one of the typical, I would tell people my name was Bertha or Martha, just like silly stuff. But then it would like, the more I would drink, the more my disease progressed, the more like situations. Like, I mean, I'm lucky that I didn't get my ass kicked.
Well, it sounds like you had this kind of outgoing performative thing about you.
Totally.
And then when you're drinking and you lose your sense of judgment about it, it goes from being like fun to some extreme level where you don't have perspective and the judgment is just bad.
Horrible. And then people would tell me what I did the next day, and that pit in the bottom of my stomach, like my heart dropping, like the shame and the guilt and the remorse, and then the hangovers got worse.
Gotcha. So it goes from being fun and kind of like, oh, there's my crazy friend
Yes.
Esin, to this other sort of like much darker thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I was in a sorority. I was social chair. I was had social chair. Like I threw the parties. I did the mixers. I got the kegs. I did all of that. I was the fun.
I imagine you were great at all of that.
And I was, right. In the beginning, when it wasn't so bad, it would be sporadic, the blackouts, right, here and there, and you could kind of chalk it up to college. How many of us are blacking out in college? But I kind of always knew I drank a little differently.
So you reach a point where, the problems start piling up and people are really worried about you. And now it's no longer fun. Your family's worried about you. And it's off to Sierra Tucson.
No, not quite.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
it's not that linear of a journey.
Right. No, it's so it's like, it's kind of like a lot of like denial. It's kind of like, I didn't eat. I didn't eat that night, or like just desperately trying to keep it in my life. Desperately. Like, don't take this away from me.
Well, I have to imagine this is the problem that a lot of people have with recovery, is that there's this whole identity around drinking, and it wasn't all bad.
No.
There was a lot about it.
Yeah.
That sounds like it was really attractive, like really fun for you. You were fun. You had a whole identity with it. And now it starts going sideways. But the party, the fun person, the social chair, Carmencita, like you don't want all that to end.
No. So there's this whole like, I'm the fun party girl, like you said, Social Chair, Spring Break, Cancun, Acapulco, Memorial Day, Las Vegas, Winter Music Conference down here. Everything's like a vibe and it's like fun, but it's getting dark. It's starting to get dark.
So you were always kind of part of the scene.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I bartended for years. So, and I was like the head bartender that worked with like a promoter in New York. So I would work at like all the hot spots.
So whatever was the happening situation.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you were there.
There was a place in the Hamptons that was like didn't even have a name on the door. It was called Jet East, and it was like where all the celebrities went. I used to bartend there. The Tavern. Some people are New Yorkers. CPI. So I was bartender at all of the spots.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was like I was in the scene. All my friends were in the scene. I hired my friends to work because the promoter would let me pick. So it was like a big party. So all my friends were bartending. I got to pick where their spots. It would be like Coco's Monday nights, Manhattan, China White, all the way from Manhattan to the Hamptons in New York, covered the whole arena.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty big situation. It sounds like you were probably making good money doing it.
I was making like literally $5,000 cash a week during that time. It was like the high time.
You have a young person with a drinking problem taking in that kind of money.
With living at home with their parents with no bills to pay.
That spells potential problems to me.
Absolutely. Like going to the Hard Rock in Vegas and renting out a whole section.
Oh wow! So you were really?
I thought I was like a baller.
You were wilding out.
I was like wilding out. Yeah, because it was just coming in, So like maybe even sometimes 7,000 a week. Honestly, it was like the height of bartenders.
Gotcha. That whole scene in New York.
The whole scene in New York. It was like the thing.
So let me ask you this: at what point did you get to where you knew this thing was a problem and where a conversation about you getting sober, going to Sierra Tucson, getting help, that became something that you couldn't fight anymore?
There was just enough people around me that cared about me. I was losing friends. People were like, I was saying mean things when I was intoxicated. I started to lose some of the bartending jobs because I was blacking out on them. It was getting progressively worse. I had some friendship breakups, which I don't blame them. It was like they had to babysit me. Parents increasingly concerned. I knew it was coming to the end of the road where it was getting dark.
It started to feel like it was unraveling.
And it started to feel like I had no control over it, and I didn't even really want to do it anymore. It wasn't fun. It turned on me.
Yeah, I can imagine when you have this big life and you're in the midst of all these scenes and lots of people, it's kind of like the more notoriety you have, the bigger your life is, the more people you're around, the more visible it becomes when there's a decline.
Yes.
So once you start going sideways, it's hard to keep it a secret because all of these people around you can see it.
Absolutely. And so my dad, he was like a teacher at one point and, super intelligent man. He's like one of my best friends. He was like, you have to do something. Like, this is not good. And I was like, no, I know. I kept pushing it off, right?
That sounds like a very gentle way to have that conversation, given how out of control you were.
I mean, that's a gentle one, but there was a lot of turmoil within the family. They were just like, they were on guard. They were watching me. I started drinking and driving. I ended up, one of the things which you would think would make me stop drinking. So I'm going through a breakup. We're nearing like kind of like the escalation of the addiction where it's gotten really bad. And I guess a friend called me and asked me to come down to these set of bars near my home. And I don't know if you know Juicy Couture outfit.
I do.
So I had
those are the sweatpants,
the terry cloth sets, and some had like Juicy on the bum or whatever. Yes. And I remember I probably was about a bottle of wine deep going through a breakup, like really bad. And a friend called. I was in a complete blackout, got in my car to drive down to go meet her, put a Juicy outfit on, like literally just pants and the zip-up sweatshirt, nothing else. And it was yellow. I remember it. And so I drove down. I don't remember this. I hit somebody. I bounced off off of that car, did a U-turn, and sideswiped a cop car.
Oh, no.
The cop car was apparently telling somebody they were publicly urinating and was telling them to stop. So I woke up handcuffed to a hospital bed with the cop across from me and then the gentleman and his son also in the hospital seat, and nothing happened to anybody.
No one got hurt?
God. No one got hurt.
Wow, you got really, really lucky.
And the cop on the scene was a friend of mine who was an older guy. He was a couple of years older than me. And he was like, I could have tried to get you out of this. He's like, but once you hit another cop car, he's like, all bets are off. He's like, so just push us as long as you. I didn't even know what was happening. And I went and got like booked and went to jail for the first time in a van, handcuffed to another girl, and ended up in a cell with the cops making fun of me, being like, oh, so what was it, Pinarly? It's my last name. So what was it that attracted you about the cop car? Was it the lights, stuff like that? And I'm like dehydrated, drank. They're offering me milk and bologna sandwiches.
Ugh.
And I'm like, no, I'm good. And the girl next to me elbows me. She's like, you'll take it. I'm like, I'll take it.
Still in the Juicy Couture outfit.
Still in the Juicy Couture outfit, waiting to, it was so humiliating. There was a bathroom in the middle, like it was like a steel, everything was steel metal. So I was
the jail?
In the jail. And it was my first experience in there. And I would not go to the restroom because it was like you had to go in the middle of everybody. But so you would think that would be my bottom, as people talk about bottoms, right?
I was thinking that was what we were saying.
Nope. Kept drinking. Oh, so guilt and shame around, I can't believe that. Hired a lawyer. All that kind of stuff did not stop me. Probably drank another year after that.
Oh, wow, that long. So was there another event like that?
So there wasn't another, I would say, that kind of event. But so part of my culture, I'm very, very spiritual. And there's this holiday once a year where you go to the ocean and you write out manifestations. So you write out what you want for yourself, so you like draw it in the sand. And I remember drawing an alcohol bottle and drawing an X through it. And then a week later, I woke up. My dad was in the TV room and I said, I'm ready to go to rehab.
So that's really interesting. I was looking at one of your Instagram videos and you actually talk about visualizing things. And you made reference to that it's really important to do that either in the morning or right about bedtime, because that's where you're able to kind of conjure the strongest sort of verbal images or whatever. So clearly,
it's always been in me.
Even that belief about human wellness, this was an essential moment of your own sobriety. So you're not just telling other people to do this because it sounds cool. This is something that you actually did.
This is actually what worked for me, to actually visualize and go and do something spiritual that I had this belief in, this deep-seated belief that even though my addiction progressed and I got worse and I got disconnected from it, it was always still it was dimly lit. And so I just needed to kind of go back and access it. And it was that drawing of that, visualizing me alcohol-free, visualizing me sober. What would that look like? What would that feel like?
Among many of the recovering people I know, there are often moments of spiritual awakening that are transformative, that generally are associated with the period of time in which a real sincere commitment to recovery is made. Is that what was happening for you at that time?
Yeah, I was so desperate at that time. I wanted to want it, but it was so much more powerful than me, and it was so much bigger than me that I knew that I lost the choice. I remember hiding beer bottles around my house in the perimeter, hiding it in my room, going outside and drinking and crying because I couldn't stop.
That sounds very sad. And when we go back to the social chair and the party girl and where we start, where it's so much fun, and now we're conjuring up this image, and this is very dark and very sad and sounds like a person who is just really depressed and losing hope.
Lost hope, depressed, feeling like a shell of myself, hiding alcohol in my room, in my closets, hiding it outside the perimeter of the home so that my parents won't see it, going outside, drinking and crying because I can't stop.
Very much in tune with behavior that we would classify as classically alcoholic.
And crying and praying and again, having that deep-seated belief that like something greater and more powerful than this is what's going to help me because I can't do it. And I'm strong and I'm smart and I know all this stuff and I'm a psych major and I'm in graduate school and I can't stop. And I'm helping other people in my internships and I'm like a hypocrite. I'm sending people off to rehab and I'm like, and I need to be going there too. But I'm deathly afraid also because I don't know what that other side looks like.
So at what point are you ready for Sierra Tucson?
Interestingly enough, so I'm such a scholar in that I've always read books. I've always been English. I was an English literature major as well as a psych major. Like love books. Like I found solace in books. I escaped into stories. I wrote stories. I was a writer. I love that. And I think somewhere along the way, I just kept praying and asking and wishing. And my sister was getting married. I have a younger sister. She's 4 years younger than me. And she was getting married in St. Martin. And we had hired this wedding planner and we rented this house and I was helping with it. And I kind of knew this is my last hurrah. Like I'm going to drink over there. And I bought a book that said, A Look at Inside Inpatient Treatment. And I was reading the book while I was drinking in St. Martin at my sister's week-long wedding thing. And I was I knew, I'm headed there. I was prepping myself.
I could see the process though, as sort of paradoxical as all of those behaviors would be to be at a destination wedding, a big party where you're actually drinking, and to be off to the side reading a book about going into inpatient treatment. That is so contradictory and yet in a way makes perfect sense.
And I think it's maybe 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. I haven't slept. I'm drinking a mimosa and reading A Look at Inside Inpatient Treatment. My father gets up. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I told you, it's my last hurrah. And he grabbed it out of my hand. They've just had it at that point, you know?
Were there any incidents at the wedding?
Nope.
You kept it together?
I kept it. Yeah. It was total self-will. I still drank, but really, really trying to hold myself back.
Because I'm imagining if you started tearing clothes off of people at your sister's wedding,
yeah,
that may be a bridge too far.
Yeah, there was this I gotta just try to minimize it as much as possible and control it. And I know I'm still gonna drink, but just try to contain it. So there was a couple of days where I didn't drink on that trip.
Gotcha. So you were already in a contemplation phase.
Yes, absolutely.
Realizing that something had to be different.
Yep.
You're reading this book and you know that the end of the party is near.
And there was some grief.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was breaking up with alcohol. It was one of the first books I read called Drinking: A Love Story.
I remember that.
You remember that book?
I do remember that.
That resonated so much with me. I read it.
Do you know the author
I
of that
don't remember the author.
It's a pretty famous.
It is, right?
When I was working at Hazelden,
yeah,
that was being floated around. That was the first time I was exposed to it. And it was a very popular book for therapists to give their the female clients specifically. It seemed at that point when they were actually transitioning to more of a gender-based care and treatment, that was kind of a newer thing. The idea of recovery for women was being conceptualized as much more of a relational event.
Yeah.
So the idea of alcoholism was actually conceptualized more for women at that time as a relational thing. And that book, Drinking: A Love Story, really encapsulated that whole idea.
I mean, it was, I kind of wish I got my hands on it earlier, but I was so grateful that I got my hands on it.
Well, would it have meant anything to you when you were bartending in New York and part of a sorority?
No, yeah, probably not. I think I got it exactly when I was meant to get it, right?
When you're partying with Eminem in Cancun, where you're going to be reading that book?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So, I mean, it came along at the right time.
It was in treatment when I finally went there. And the other part of that is that I knew exactly where I was going to treatment before I went to the wedding. I set it all up.
So you picked.
So what happened was we had a family friend who was like this top psychiatrist, psychologist, who was also an addiction specialist. And he, I'm the first person in my family. I'm not the first addict in my family. My grandfather was an alcoholic, but I'm the first person receiving treatment for it. I mean, it's rampant in my family. My aunt is now sober. My 2 cousins still struggle with addiction. And my dad stopped drinking when I stopped drinking. So he just stopped.
Do you think, in a way, your movement towards recovery and the fact that you went to treatment, it sort of normalized the idea that you could actually do that in your family?
Absolutely.
It was okay to admit that you have a drinking problem, and it was okay to go to treatment. And once one person did it, it became okay for other people to do it too.
And it was like nobody knew anything about what is treatment, what is rehab. I would watch Celebrity Rehab. And like
that's how you learned.
That's how I learned. I'm like in my room watching Celebrity Rehab, crying, smoking cigarettes in my room, drinking in my room, watching Celebrity Rehab. I'm like, that's where I need to be. I know that. Yep. I'm like, I know I need to be there.
With Dr. Drew, Gary Busey.
Literally. Yeah. I'm like, that's where I need to be. And I know that for sure. And I think I went to go speak to that family friend. And he said, listen, he says, I've been doing this a long time. He said, and I have this one guy who has struggled with addiction for years. And he's gone to Hazleton and Betty Ford. And he's gone to all of these premier places all over the world. And the only place he got sober at was Sierra Tucson. And so I said, interesting. He goes, and it had a level 1 acute hospital on premises. So it had a detox in there.
So you could just go. And because you needed to be detoxed at this point.
Yes, for sure.
And for people who are unaware, that means you actually needed a medical intervention to get the alcohol out of you because you would have been at risk for withdrawal.
I was also taking Xanax.
Oh.
Prescribed for the anxiety that was occurring because of the drinking. But the anxiety was there before the alcohol. The alcohol was the solvent.
Deadly combination. Right
Deadly.
there.
That's the blackouts. And so I remember even saying to the psychiatrist, he's like, you don't have to get off the Xanax. And I was like, yeah, I do. So that part of it was also getting off of the Xanax, that I was on like a low dose of it. And I never really abused that, but I was mixing it.
How long were you on it?
I would say 4 or 5 years.
Enough, definitely, that you're physically dependent.
For sure.
Because Xanax withdrawal is famously difficult.
And post-acute withdrawal syndrome I learned about, right? They're like, oh, it can last up to 18 months. I'm like, oh, fun.
Problems with sleep.
Oh, absolutely. And so when I was in treatment, I was actually in treatment and they were weaning me off while I was going to groups. And I remember at one point I thought my throat was closing in. And I went to the nurse and I was like, something's wrong. And she's like, nothing's wrong. She's like, you're having a panic attack.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh my God. Like I had to leave group. So I'm like detoxing while going to groups because the detox is on the premises. And I remember they're weaning me down, I still remember the last piece that was given to me. It's like, this is it.
Gotcha. It sounds like a rough go. How long were you out there?
A month.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I did it like that.
And once you finished at Sierra Tucson, what was next?
There was aftercare recommendations. And I was like, oh, no, I'm good. I was like, I just did a month over here. I'm like, I was crawling out of my skin. I came off of Xanax. I came off of alcohol. Like, I am good. And let's see if I can conjure up some of the accent. My primary therapist was English. And she's like, oh, no, honey, this is the beginning of your journey. This is just the beginning. I go, oh no, I just did my time. She's like, no, your aftercare recommendation is that you go to Florida to this place called Inner Harbor Treatment for Women. And
I remember Inner Harbor.
Okay. So I had no idea. I go, what is that? And she goes, and then you need to be there in a halfway, but it's also kind of like treatment. It's what Voyage is now. So it was like a full circle moment when I went to visit Voyage a couple of years ago, and actually like Ryan Potter and Kevin Bandy, they told me that it used to be, it was Inner Harbor Treatment for Women. And so, of course, I didn't want to go
I remember Inner Harbor because that was really one of the first kind of like high-end transitional housing places for women. They historically had a few of those for men, and that was the first one I remember for women because it was like hybrid actual therapy in addition to substance use disorder transitional housing.
Yes, that was what was sold to me, but I didn't buy it. I was like, what? No. My best friend's getting married and I'm going to be sober at her wedding. And I will just go back to my normal life in New York and I'll be the designated driver and just live my life. And then she's like, no. And so I procrastinated. I was in the wedding and then I went out to a club and I just kept going on with my life. I got a sponsor. I went to some meetings here and there. And then I went to this club called Kiss and Fly in Manhattan. And actually, it was a drink called rakı. It's like ouzo. You know, the Greeks drink ouzo. So there's a Turkish drink called rakı. And it's like super potent. It's like you put
licorice?
It's like licorice vibes. Yeah, exactly.
Ouzo, Zambuca.
It's like a exactly. So you put like maybe like a shot glass worth of it and fill the rest with water. And I smelt a guy drinking it. And I was like, what are the odds that I'm like, you're drinking rakı? He's like, yeah. I'm like, this is a sign. I'm supposed to drink.
That's not what it was a sign of.
Oh, that's what, I was like, this is a sign. And so I took a couple of sips and then I went and got my own drink. And my friend goes, didn't you just get out of rehab? I'm like, you're right, I did. She goes, so maybe you shouldn't be drinking. And I stopped at like 2.5 drinks. And I remember telling that sponsor that I had, I'm like, doesn't count, right? She's like, oh, it counts. I go, well, then I should have got wasted. And she's like, I'm like, so I have to start my count all over again? And she goes, yeah. So at that point, I knew I was like, I need more help.
Gotcha.
And that's when I called up Inner Harbor Treatment for Women that had a spot saved for me, supposedly, but I waited because I kept sitting on it and I was terrified. I'm going to be pulled away, go to Florida from all my friends and family and everything I've ever known for a minimum of 3 months. And I have no idea what to do or what to expect. And so I call up and she goes, I have good news and I have bad news. And I go, she goes, which do you want first? I go, I don't know, the bad news. She goes, we gave away your bed. And I go, do you understand how long it took for me to wrap my head around like even coming? She goes, but listen, this is more of like a treatment. You'd be driven around in vans. It seems like you're more independent right now. You had one slip. There's one place in Florida that I recommend, and I called and saved a spot for you if you want to go. It's called the Sanctuary.
That was in
Delray.
Yeah.
So it was a subsidiary of Crossroads Antigua, and they had a female house and a male house. And she goes, you'll have your own car.
I did groups at the male house.
Did you? Okay, Tom Gentry.
Yeah. He and I are friends.
Yeah, so Nancy Steiner, Jane Fox, and it was literally like what saved my life.
That's pretty cool. I got to see Eric Clapton.
Did you? That's amazing.
Yeah, Eric Clapton, for people listening to this don't know, Eric Clapton actually was the one who started the Crossroads Treatment Center in Antigua.
Yeah, which I went to on a women's retreat in January.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then from there, they opened up a couple of transitional facilities here in Delray, Sanctuary for Men and Sanctuary for Women, where you went. So you went to Eric Clapton's transitional house here in Delray Beach.
Yep. I was petrified. I was terrified, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, that was another one of the higher, end kind of like women's transitional houses.
It was honestly, to this day, I love Nancy Steiner. To this day, the girl who was my roommate still sober.
Oh, that's
my
cool.
house mother is still sober. And I made some like really amazing connections. 2 of the girls, I was maid of honor in one of their weddings, bridesmaid in another wedding.
So begins the pilgrimage.
Yeah. And so the pilgrimage was that I was going to stay 3 months and then get out of there. I extended it I stayed 4.5 months and I built a life. And I was like, what is going to keep me tethered here? Because I kind of want to run back. I'm still kind of making my way. I'm still like anxious. I'm still, post-acute withdrawal syndrome. I don't know one person, but I'm building a little bit of a life slowly.
So what is this, 13, 14 years?
15 years.
15 years.
August 1st was 15 years.
Oh, so August was 15 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
2009 is when I went to the sanctuary.
So you've been living here this whole time?
This whole time. So what I did was I did yoga teacher training to keep me tethered here. So I was like, well, at least that's a year, and then I'll figure it out from there, and I haven't left since.
Oh, wow. Are you still involved in the yoga?
I do yoga regularly. I never did yoga to teach. I did it to learn, to become better at my own practice, because it's a big part of my sobriety. It's a big part of my mental health. It's a big part of, it was like a natural extension of my dancing, like that flexibility and that whatever. So I wanted to learn more about the breath work and how does it affect the nervous system. And yoga is one of the only activities that directly hit your GABA receptors. And for anyone, it's fancy talk for, the calming neurotransmitter. That's what benzos hit. Alcohol hits GABA. So it made sense to me that I resonated with yoga because I'm a GABA girl.
You are a GABA
I'm a GABA girl, And so that yoga journey, I went to Costa Rica. I ended up getting like a massage from a blind man over there. I did my intensive over there. I had a belly ring when I came. I took my belly ring out. I hugged a tree. I was secretly smoking cigarettes. You weren't allowed to smoke cigarettes there. And there was an announcement. They're like, we know somebody in this room is smoking. We're finding cigarettes all over the place. And I'm like, that would be me. And like, you can't smoke on the premises, But again, something to keep me tethered, something to keep me really to understand the connection between breath and movement and body. And it was spiritual by nature. So it resonated.
So at what point does the party girl from New York, the club promoter, the bartender, dancer, yogi, all these different things, at what point do you decide you want to be a therapist?
I was already, that's the interesting part. I had already.
Oh, because your undergraduate was psychology.
My undergraduate was psychology and English literature, double major. I got my master's in my addiction.
Ah, so in some sense, this is always meant to be the path.
It was always, yeah. So I was going to either be an English literature professor or a therapist.
Oh, so you got your master's in New York?
I got my master's in New York, and
Where did you go to
Stony
school?
Brook. I ended up at Stony Brook University.
And what did you study there? You have social work.
Yeah. So, I applied to 2 grad programs, and then I had to make a choice. I was like, do I want to grade papers for the rest of my life? I love stories. I love people's stories. That's why I love books. That's why I love English literature. So I was like, human stories, people's stories. And so I ended up doing that program, and what should have taken me 2 years took me 3 years because I was drinking.
Gotcha.
And so, and I remember my dad saying this to me. He said, look what you did in addiction. Imagine what you're going to do in sobriety.
Wow, that's really cool. So that was always there. That was always the path.
That was the path. Yeah. But I never, and of course, then you end up going into the, addiction field more so, where I was very like mental health and like things like that. And so I ended up, working in inpatient treatment and working in detoxes and becoming a master's certified addiction professional and kind of leaning towards that. But I always kind of knew that's not all I wanted to do.
Gotcha.
I wanted more.
What ultimately was it that you wanted?
I wanted to do I wanted to help. I wanted to serve a population. It felt like a little bit with the treatment centers. It was like a factory. And I felt like I wasn't really harnessing, or it was like people were going in and out. Like I couldn't get them. I was like touching on some important things. I was noticing trauma in people. I was noticing, obviously, we talk dual diagnosis, but a lot of the times, like we have to work on the addiction being out of the picture. So I think there was always this pull that there's this, I want to do my own thing, where I want to have my own, I want to be trained and go deeper into trauma, the underlying stuff that is the fabric of being human.
And this is all the work that you're doing now. And clearly you're very committed to that mission. Again, as I said at the outset of all of this, you are a person who has done a lot of postgraduate training in all of these trauma modalities, IFS, Imago, brain spotting. You do a lot of different things.
That scholar is still in me.
Yeah, and I see that in you, that you're definitely a learner.
Yes, I like thrive. I thrive. And I feel like people are so different, but also we're universally so similar that nobody comes out, addiction or not, unscathed.
Yeah.
We all experience pain to some degree. We all experience hurt. We all experience disappointment.
I wanted to say something about that. So to me, you go from being the party girl to really embracing this spiritual recovery life, being sober,
Yep.
and to be this therapist, very scholarly individual who studies and is now working very professionally, helping a lot of people. But you still look like you're having a really good time.
I am, and that's what I call like reclaiming those parts of yourself that are always in you, and so without a social lubricant, right? So I was using that to it was fun until it wasn't fun, but inside of me, like, we all have like a little boy or a little girl, right? And my little girl loves to play and loves to have fun and has always had a sense of humor, and things were always funny. And I love traveling, and I love dancing, and I love singing, and I love music, and I love concerts. And so it was just learning how to do that and like tap into my fun and that part of like who I really am, right? Which is I love to have fun. I love things to be fun. I love to travel. I love to have new experiences. I love connection. And so it was like reclaiming that lost part of myself, because things weren't so funny in the beginning anymore when you first get sober. And people kept saying, well, you're not in recovery unless you're having fun. And I was like, well, this is not really that fun yet.
It takes a minute.
Oh, yeah.
For all of that to come together.
For sure. And so it was basically like reclaiming these like lost parts of myself that I had and learning how to do it in a way that sober.
And once you kind of hit that mark and you're going to these concerts and you're going to these clubs and you're doing these things that you enjoy, you're dancing, you're doing karaoke.
Yep.
Uninhibited, not constrained by anxiety.
Yep.
Uninhibited, just being yourself and enjoying them. And it's as much fun as it ever was when you were drinking.
Taking dance classes. I would go down to Wynwood in Miami and take dance classes with trainers that like taught like Janet Jackson and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So there was a Broadway dance center in Manhattan that I used to take classes at. So I found one in Wynwood. I'd take the day and just go there and take dance classes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I always said like, it's all about creating a recovery that's fun for you.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was dance classes and yoga, and I got into cold plunge, and, I grew up in hammams. I don't know if you know what hammams are, but they're like what we call saunas, but they're heated marble.
Oh, the Turkish
hammam.
Kind.
So I grew up with them. So contrast therapy, that's so popular these days, like cold plunge or whatever. I grew up with that. So it was a lot of getting back to basics. It was a lot of like reclaiming these lost parts of myself in like in a sober, healthy, more authentic way, without needing to self-medicate anxiety, without needing to self-medicate, and the obsession to use being lifted from me, so that I could actually be me without masking.
I'm a big fan of the sauna.
God, I love the sauna.
I have the home infrared.
That's beautiful. I am remodeling my home right now, and I'm doing a whole setup like that.
Yeah, it's the Therasage, so it's really like a nylon kind of hood.
Oh, that's amazing.
With a chair, and you sit in the middle of it, and your head pops out. It's ridiculous.
It's amazing. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It only heats to 170 degrees.
Still hot.
Hot enough. When you're in there for a half hour.
It's so good. It tricks your body into thinking you're working out. Your chemicals, you're sweating out toxins. It helps with anxiety. It helps with depression. It helps with nervous system regulation. I mean, it is literally like game changer.
Yeah, that's my cardio.
It really. That's why you look so fit.
Well, thank you. I lift weights and trying to diet right, and that's my cardio.
Sauna's honestly amazing. It's so calming. It's so soothing. I'm not a big meditator. I do more moving meditations. Dancing is a moving meditation. Yoga is a moving meditation.
It's actually really, really good for sleep too.
Absolutely.
It improves it.
Oh my God. And between the cold plunge and that, I sleep like a baby.
I got a cold plunge. It's the pod.
It's amazing. Is it the barrel?
My wife got it for me for Father's Day.
That's amazing.
It's kind of like a nylon thing with a frame. So you sit in it.
You have to send me a picture of it.
And you have to get your own ice.
Oh, okay.
So, And it takes a lot of ice to make it cold. So it's literally, you got to put in like 7 bags of ice.
Yeah, I have a Thatcher. You know Thatcher?
Yeah.
So I was like posting my cold plunging, and he posted a picture. He got a freezer, and like created his own like cold plunge with the ices and everything in it. I love the creativity of it because it's expensive.
So I bought these molds for big blocks of ice, and I'll freeze them. But even those aren't enough.
It's hard. I know.
They're 2-pound molds. So it's a big 2-pound block of ice. It's like what you would use to build an igloo.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I just can't make enough of them. So I have to go to the store and buy 7 big bags of ice, and that'll be enough. And sometimes it's a true cold plunge where it'll go down to the low 40s or whatever. And sometimes it's just a really cold bath.
You're still getting the benefit.
If it's not quite freezing, I'll sit in there for 20 minutes. And
That's amazing.
Yeah, you get out, you feel great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, I go to the Standard since I got sober. That's one of my places in Miami because
you told me. I know that you.
It's my safe haven. It's like whenever I've gone through a breakup, whenever I need some peace, like whenever I need a rest and relaxation. It has a hammam in there that's unisex. It has the heated marble. It's got an icebox room. It's got a cold plunge outside. It's phenomenal.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's on the bay. It's literally designed. I don't think children and pets are allowed. It's literally designed for ultimate relaxation. There's like hammocks everywhere. There's a spa. There's massages.
It sounds wonderful.
It's amazing. Even getting a day pass there is really, really accessible.
It sounds like a really nice way to spend some time.
Yeah.
Well, Esin, thank you so much for coming. This is really terrific. And it was a very fun and interesting story, a very open, authentic individual that you are. Hey, your therapy, if anybody wants to get in touch with you to find out more about the kind of work that you're doing, interested in working with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
So I have a website. It's called eternalwellnesscounseling.com.
Great name.
Thank you. And then I love Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. And the word eternal. So like that's kind of where it came from. And then I am on social media. I think it's Esin Pinarly _ LCSW. Or it's like, yeah.
And that's your
like
Instagram?
It's my Instagram.
And I would recommend to anybody to follow your Instagram. Your videos are really good quality.
Thank you. And that's a lot of reps, just to let you know. It's always feels cringy, uncomfortable. Like at first, the more reps you put in, just like lifting weights, like you start to get more comfortable.
But I feel as though the information that you're giving, you're actually giving people tips of things that they could do. So rather than the sort of shameless self-promotion, it's really a lot of...
That's literally what I want to do, education.
Yeah, it's a lot of tips about how to actually do positive affirmations. Like that's all part of your stuff. So it's actually useful material to people.
Yeah, and I have a lot of freebies coming out. So if you follow me on my social media, I'm going to have a lot of free guides that are coming out that people can work through themselves because I know a lot of people don't have access. Some people don't have access to resources. Yeah. And so my whole point is to educate. And even if, I plant a seed and you go water it or you learn something that you could apply in that moment. And that's why I have all these freebies coming out so that people could download it so that they could do the work on their own too.
Yeah, oh, that's great. That's all sounds terrific. Well, Esin, thank you again for coming. This was great. Yeah. You were great. And
you're great.
Yeah.
And let's also end with the fact that you're one of the first friends I had when I came on this floor in the sanctuary suite. So this is kind of a full circle moment too. Like, right?
Here we are.
Here, look at us. Who would have thunk it?
Right?
Who?
Big things.
Big things.
Big things. All right, everybody.